Hello, guys. I'm live, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about an ancient civilization. And this is going to be a brief one because this is my first stream, and I'm just trying to a little bit test how it's going to work. So, here you have the Mayan civilization. This is the Mayan civilization, and you can see the picture. It's an ancient civilization. So we will go through some of the information that we have over here on screen. The first is that the Mayan is a Mesoamerican civilization noted for only known fully developed written language of the pre-Columbian Americans, as well as for its art, architecture, and mathematical and astronomical system. Initially established during the pre-classic period, that is 2000 BC to 280. According to the Mesoamerican chronology, many Mayan cities reached their highest state of development during the classic period. From AD 250 to 900 and continued through the post-classic period until the arrival of the Spanish. So yes, this is the ancient civilizations, and from the first paragraph, we are able to know that it is the only ancient civilization that has been known. That is what the historians has been able to know, who had a written language of their own society. They must be having some laws. They must be having social status, chronology, and everything. So because it was written, historians were able to know about them, and we actually see, if I just go up over here, they also made beautiful monuments. As you can see, there's a step pyramid, and over here in the center it is like some sort of a temple. Okay, so this was the first paragraph information. Now let's go to the second paragraph. The Mayan civilization shares many features with the Mesoamerican civilization due to the high degree of interaction and cultural diffusion that characterize the region. Advances such as writing, epigraphy, and the calendar did not originate with Maya. However, their civilization fully developed them. Maya influence can be detected in Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, and western El Salvador to as far as away as central Mexico. More than 1,000 kilometers or 620 miles from the central Mayan area. The many outside influences found in Maya art and architecture are thought to have resulted from trade and cultural exchange rather than direct external conquest. The Mayan people survived the classic period collapse and the arrival of Spanish conquistadors and 16th century Spanish colonization of the Americas. Today, the Maya and their descendants from sizable population throughout the Maya area, they maintain a distinctive set of traditions and belief resulting from a merger of pre-Columbian and post-conquest ideas and cultures. Millions of people speak Mayan languages today. In 2005, the Arabian Ark, a play written in the Araki language, was declared a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity by UNESCO. So yes, they also had some, like, in any ancient civilization, if you go, their culture or the way they represent themselves and the way they have left their mark on history about the time and their existences throughout their culture and whatever they have left. And then what happened, okay, when the Spanish conquerors came and they tried to like conquer it, and now this is like into the, because it is a as we have known, that this is actually a pre-Columbian American area that they had actually been living in, and now most of the parts are in the modern day America that we see, and all these sites are archaeological sites, and these are sites where you can go and find and see these beautiful monuments and learn more about them. So here I have some more information about the table of contents. So let's go to the geographical extent. The first geographical extent that we see for the Mayan is the Mayan civilization extended through the present-day southern Mexican state of Chiapas, Tabasco, and the Yucatan Peninsula states of Quintana Roo, Camanpia, and Yaquil. The Maya are also extended through the northern Central American region, including the present-day nations of Guatemala, Belize, Western Honduras, and extreme northern El Salvador. The Maya area is generally divided into three loosely defined zones. The first is the South Pacific lowlands, the highlands, and the northern lowlands. The Maya highlands include all of the elevated terrain in Guatemala and the Chiapas highlands of Mexico. The southern lowlands lie just south to the highlands and incorporated a part of Mexican state of Chiapas. The coast of Guatemala, Belize, and the northern El Salvador and the northern lowlands cover Yucatan Peninsula, including the Mexican states of Yucatan, Campeche, and Quintana Roo, the impeding department of Guatemala, and all of the Belize. Parts of the Mexican states of Tabasco and Chiapas are also included in the northern lowlands. So this is how was the extent of this civilization, where you can find they have left their mark on history with their beautiful structures that they have created, and this is how they had. So now let's go move on to the history sections of it. So here we can see what is it that they have, and the table of contents says that it is a pre-classic period, then there is a classic period, then when the Mayan civilization collapsed, then the post-classic period, and the colonial period. Okay, so let's go about it. So the first one that we have over here is a pre-classic period. Scholars continue to discuss when this era of Maya civilization began. Discoveries of Mayan occupation at New Belize have been carbon dated to around 2600 BCE. The people built monument structures. The Mayan calendar, which is based on so-called Mesoamerican long count calendar, begins a date equivalent to 11th August 3114 BC. The most widely accepted view as of 2010 is that first clearly Mayan settlements were established through 1800 BC in the Soconson region of the Pacific coast. This period, known as the early pre-classic, was characterized by sedentary communities and the introduction of pottery and fired clay figures. Important sites Important sites in the Maya lowlands include Negev, El Menador, Seville, San Bartolo. In the Guatemalan highlands, Kilimanjaro emerged around 800 BC. For many centuries, it controlled the jade obsidian sources for the Beijing and Pacific lowlands. The important city sites of Izapa, Taquilegaba, and Chogulu at around 600 BC were the main procedures of Casco. Mid-sized Maya community also began to develop in northern Maya lowlands during the middle and late pre-classic, though these lack size, scales, and influence of the large centers of the southern lowlands. Two important pre-classic northern sites include Comtech, Tisbun. The first written inscription of Maya hieroglyphics also date to this period, that is 250 BCE. Scholars disagree about the boundaries that define the physical and cultural extent of the early Maya and neighboring pre-classic Mesoamerican civilizations, such as the Olmec culture of the Tabasco lowlands and the Mixcoac and Zapotec-speaking people of Chiapas and southern Oaxaca. Respectively, many of the earliest significant inscriptions and buildings appeared in this overlapping zone, and evidence suggests that these cultures and the formative Maya influence one another. Tivilik, Avik, and the specific force of Guatemala is the only site where Olmec cultures have been clearly succeeded in Mayan one. Around 100 AD, a widespread decline and adornment of Mayan cities occurred, called the pre-classic collapse. This marked the end of the pre-classic era. Now we are moving to the classic era. The classic period, that is from AD 250 to 900 AD, was one of the peak of large-scale construction and urbanization. The recording of monumental inscriptions and significant intellect and artistic development, particularly in the southern lowland region. The people develop an agriculture incentive, city-centered civilization considering of numerous independent city-states, some subsequent to others. This include the well-known cities of Karakol, Tikal, Palanque, Kupin, Sanchikik, and Kalakmul, but also the lesser-known Lamanai. Dos Pilas, Kalatpeg, Usatun, Altunha, and Bonakpak, among others. The early classic settlement contribution in the northern Maya lowland is not as clearly known as the southern zone, but does include a number of population centers such as Oxenadok, Chujilchilmil, and the early occupation of Oxmal. During this period, the Maya population numbered in millions. They created a multitude of kingdoms and small empires, built monumental places and temples, engaged in highly developed ceremonies, and developed an elaborate hieroglyphic system writing. The social basis of the exorbitant civilization was a large political and economical intersocial network world system existing throughout the Mayan region and beyond the wider Mesoamerican world. The political, economic, and cultural dominant core. Mayan units of the Maya classic world system were located in the central lowlands, while the corresponding dependent or peripheral Maya units were found along the margins of the southern highlands and northern lowland areas. But as in all world systems, Maya core shifted through time, starting out during the pre-classic times in the southern highlands, moving to the central lowlands during the classic period, and finally shifting to the northern peninsula during the post-classic period. In this Maya world system, the semi-peripheral medicinal units generally took the form of trade and commercial centers. The most notable monuments are step pyramids they built in their region centers and accompanying places of their rulers. The place of Canaguin is the largest in the Mayan area, but the site has no pyramids. Other important archaeological remains include the carved stone slabs, usually called slate. The Mayan called them titun or three stones, which depicts rulers along the heliographic text describing their genealogy, military victories, and other accomplishments. The Maya civilization participated in a long distance trade with many other Mesoamerican cultures, including Teotihuacan, the Zaptok, and other group in Central and Gulf Coast Mexico. In addition, they had trade and exchange with more distant non-Mesoamerican groups. For example, the Taínos of the Caribbean islands. Archaeologists have found gold from Panama in the Scared Canton in Chichen Itza. Important trade goods included castor, salt, seashell, shade, and obsidian. Let's move to the Mayan collapse section. The Maya sentence of the southern lowlands went into decline during 8th and 9th centuries and were abandoned shortly thereafter. This decline was coupled with a cessation of monumental inscription and large-scale architectural construction. No universally accepted theory explains this collapse. Non-ecological theories of Maya decline are divided into several subcategories such as overpopulation, foreign invasion, peasant revolt, and the collapse of key trade routes. Ecological hypotheses include environmental disaster, epidemic disease, and climate change. There is evidence that the Maya population exceeded the carrying capacity of the environment, including exhaustion of agriculture potential and overhunting of megafauna. Some scholars have recently theorized that an intense 200-year drought led to the collapse of Mayan civilization. The drought theory originated from research performed by physical scientists studying like beds, ancient pollen, and other data not from the archaeological community. New research from 2011 with use of high resolution climate models and new reconstructions of past landscapes suggests that converting much of their forest land into corpal may have led to reduce evapotrans is may have led to reduce evapotranspiration and thus rainfall, magnifying natural drought. A study published in Science in 2012 found that modest rainfall reductions among the only 25 to 40% in annual rainfall may have been tipping point to the Mayan collapse. Based on the samples of lake and cave settlements in the areas surrounding major Mayan cities, the researchers were able to determine the amount of annual rainfall in the region. The mild drought that took place between 880 to 950 were enough to rapidly reduce the open water availability. A further paper in the same journal supports the extent the conclusion based on the isotope analysis of minerals in stalagmite. It argues the high rainfall between 440 and 660 CE allowed the Mayan to flourish in the first instance, and that while mild drought in the following years led to extensive warfare and the decline of Mayan civilization. It was prolonged period drought between 1020 to 1100 CE that was ultimately fatal. So this was the Mayan collapse, okay, and there is a post-classic period and the colonial period, okay, but now this is the time that I will need to take your off and I'll need to uh, continue it on the next live stream. So if you want me to continue with this and some more good stories that I can get for you, then please put a comment or leave something back for me so that it will be a great motivator for me to continue doing these lives. Thank you so much for being with me on this first live stream. I really appreciate each and every one of you being with me. Thank you. Take care.